Administrator, do you hear that? The silence is lying to you. Backups you trust can vanish in seconds when one shadowed identity twitches. Here's what actually happens when Azure Backup sits on defaults. Meet the backup operator from hell, rogue admin, stolen automation, careless consultant. You'll watch soft delete fail to comfort, the purge attempt, the undead return, and the vault that locks even you out. Then the cure. Vault protections, clean identity lines, and eyes that don't sleep. One rule to hold in the dark. If one person can kill your backups, you don't have backups. Stay with me, the creature is already inside. Backups, the most dangerous false sense of security. Administrator, let's start with the lie you love. The quiet one. Nothing screams. The blade is green. Jobs say completed in a soft, friendly font. No pages, no smoke. So you file backups under done, save, routine, background. That's where the rot starts. Backups are the last line. Because they're last, they decay first. They don't shout when you overscope a role. They don't groan when retention gets trimmed. They just keep producing points until the night you need to breathe life back into a dead system. Then you learn what you really built. Name the villain. Not ransomware, not fate, not oops. The backup operator from hell. It wears many faces. A long-lived owner at subscription scope, kept for convenience. A token stolen from a build agent, steady and loyal to a pipeline that now serves someone else. An automation account with contributor on vaults, just to get it working. A consultant with a fast hand who left before the dust settled. Malware that doesn't encrypt, it zeroes your retention and smiles. They share one hunger, enough rights to end recovery. Azure lulls you, built in, official, default. You enable protection. Recovery points bloom. It feels sanctioned. Your mind relaxes. Defaults promise safety in a world where nobody panics, nobody gets phished, and nobody clicks cleanup at 3 a.m. But people panic. An incident hits. Noise, heat, someone barks, shut it down. Fingers start cutting. No one is mapping effective permissions. They're hunting for buttons that stop the pain. In that storm, convenience turns lethal. That's the failure, speed over structure. You architected a path where speed can walk around safety. Then you praise the speed. In that world, backups are not a net. They're Tinder. One identity with the wrong shape can delete backup items, slash retention to 0 so time runs out, disable protection so no new points form, purge soft deleted recovery points if the vault isn't locked. The portal whispers, delete, update, change policy, harmless verbs, final consequences. You tell yourself backups are immutable. But immutability is not a word, it's a set of teeth. Soft delete to force delay, multi-user authorization so one hand can't pull both levers, vault lock to weld the door shut. Without them, your backups aren't immutable. They're dry wood stacked high. And the creature? It's patient. It lives in permissions, in nested groups, in old custom roles, in inherited scopes no one maps end to end. It waits in your CI secrets. It waits in a service principal with a guessable name and a stale certificate. It waits in a spreadsheet that lists reader, while DataActions whisper a different story. Quiet dashboards breathe this. Completed blinds you to the crack where it breathes. So hear this, administrator. The silence is not proof. It's camouflage. The monster hasn't moved yet. You want truth? Look at effective permissions, not titles. Look at activity logs that say backup item delete, retention policy change, recovery point purge. Look for the pattern. One identity touching deploy and purge. Look for the smell. Contributor on a vault, owner on a scope, custom roles with sharp data actions buried deep. Most people think they have backups. What they have is time, until the wrong identity twitches. You think immutable, it isn't, unless you make it bleed to live. Why Azure Backup is not automatically secure. You think Azure wears a halo, built-in, trusted, safe by default. But here's what actually happens. Myth 1, immutable by default. No, not until you chain the creature. Soft delete is the first chain. It forces delay. You strike delete, and the item falls, but not far. It lingers in a soft deleted state. Time buys you breath. Then multi-user authorization steps in. 2 hands, 2 humans, one cannot pull both levers. And last, the weld, vault lock, irreversible. You can't lower retention, you can't turn off soft delete, you can't purge. Without all 3, the door is open. Soft delete slows the blade. MUA blocks the single hand. Vault lock takes the blade away. Myth 2. Only backup admins can delete. Contributor smiles at that. Contributor can delete backup items. Owner can purge soft deleted points. Operators with just the right data actions can neuter policies, shorten retention, and stage a delayed death. And there are side doors. Set retention to near 0, wait enough days, watch time erase recovery points naturally. Edit a policy so backups stop forming. Change protection from daily to never. No delete button pressed, yet the patient still dies. That's how the parasite pretends to be trusted. Myth 3. More subscriptions make me safer. If the same identities span them, you just gave one key to every door. Cross-subscription trust becomes a dark corridor. A group assigned at a management group leaks into child subscriptions. A service principal scoped wide for flexibility now walks wherever it pleases. Separation without identity separation is a stage set, not a wall. Myth 4. MFA stops insiders. MFA stops the stranger at the glass. It does nothing when the face belongs. Privileged intent walks straight through. If the role allows harm and the person or process is approved, the system nods. The horror isn't bypassing MFA, it's using it workload truth. Each prey bleeds different. VM backups suffer from item deletions and policy edits. Azure SQL has two throats. PITR and LTR shorten either, and history drains out. Azure Files mixes snapshots with vault recovery, trim retention, and both collapse together. Different cracks, same bone underneath, IAM. And that's why defaults are a lullaby. Azure Backup will happily protect what you tell it with the rules you chose, enforced by roles you assigned. It will do it fast. It will do it quietly. It will do it for the wrong hands with the same care it gives you. So what does secure actually look like? Soft delete on every vault, not optional. A forced delay so accidents, panic, or malice can't end you in one motion. Multi-user authorization on destructive operations. Deletion, disabling protection, retention changes that lower safety require a second human from a different line. Separation by design. Vault lock after you test resurrection. Prove the undead returns. Delete, restore, breathe, then weld the door. Accept the pain. You won't be able to lower retention later to save cost. That pain is your guardrail. Identity scoped like a narrow keyway. No God mode. No shared service principles. No inherited owner at wide scopes for convenience. Permissions that deploy are not the permissions that purge. Break the hands apart, because here's the truth you can't bargain with. Azure will not save you from yourself. It will mirror you. If your model allows a single identity to end backups, the platform will oblige, politely, instantly, and with logs that read like a grocery list. You want it immutable. You want it safe. You get what you bind, lock, and split. Everything else is theater, common attack paths that kill backups. You asked how the creature moves. It favors 3 corridors, each looks normal, each ends in silence. Path 1. Compromised automation, Terraform with a slow leak, an innocuous repo, a pipeline file that once held a secret, a service principal with a neat, predictable name, contributor on vaults for deploy speed, no rotation, no conditional access, it wakes at 0312, it doesn't need coffee, it doesn't need approval, it runs. Cleanup is the first cut. Policies are reconciled to the new module defaults. Your custom retention vanishes under a tidy plan. Daily protection becomes never. Weekly and monthly drops go missing. Then the knife turns. Retention is written down to 0. Points now expire by the clock. The purge job strolls in a day later. Recovery points fade like breath on glass. Why it works? Automation has steady credentials. It never argues. It moves at night and on holidays. Logs show routine operations by a trusted actor. Put policy. Delete item. Update vault. The parasite loves routine. It hides in it. And if the service principal is scoped at subscription, it reaches every vault you own. One leak, all doors. Path 2. Overprivileged roles in the vault. Contributor. Everyone's favorite blunt tool. It can delete backup items. Owner. The smiling executioner. It can purge soft deleted points. And since Project Ops touched the vault once, they still can. Shared keys, shared doom. Blurry boundaries do the rest. An engineer who deploys VMs also needs to check backups sometimes, so they get contributor on the vault. Another team handles billing and troubleshoots retention, so they get owner on the resource group. Combine them in one shift, one person, one click path from deploy to purge. God mode in the dark. And remember the side doors. You don't have to press delete to kill a backup. Lower retention beneath the age of your oldest point. Wait. The system erases history as configured. Disable protection for an item temporarily during maintenance. Forget to re-enable. No alarms that wake the non-initiator. The patient dies of natural causes. Path 3, shadow admins. Inherited groups nested inside nested. Custom roles with data actions sharpened like hidden blades. Old grants at management group scope that nobody audits because we never change those. Reader on the surface, but with backup center data plane permissions tucked inside. And a forgotten scope boundary. Someone gave rights on the vault's storage account, so the creature crawls through the side. It looks like this. A user with reader on subscription. A custom role with backup policies right bound at the vault. The user sits in a group that holds that custom role. No one maps it end to end. They adjust retention by mistake at 2 a.m. or on purpose. The logs show a person with no obvious power doing very specific harm. Spreadsheet illusions versus effective permissions reality. Here's the strike you remember, administrator. The biggest threat is not ransomware. Ransomware is loud. Backup killers are quiet. It's your IAM design. Your hand gave the creature its teeth. So what are the tells? Automation that can deploy and also modify backup policies. People who can purge and also approve their own access. Service principles with wide scopes for future projects. And vaults where no one can answer in one breath who can delete, who can purge, who can change retention, and who can approve those changes. You want a quick test? Ask for the identity that can deploy a VM, register it to backup, delete its backup item, and purge the recovery point. If one name appears, you've found the mouth. But here's where it gets interesting. These paths aren't independent, they braid. A leaked pipeline calls a role assignment template. The template upgrades a person to owner temporarily. The person lowers retention to trim cost. The pipeline then runs cleanup to align state. The creature uses your tools against you. CI, IAC, FinOps, it mimics your posture. It smiles in your change log. And through that gap, even good intentions cause harm. A consultant rotates modules. A default flips soft delete off in dev for speed, later copied to prod. A junior engineer removes an assignment to reduce risk, accidentally replacing it with a broader built-in role. You don't see the fangs until the restore request fails. You asked how it moves, now you know. Compromised automation, overprivileged vaults, shadow admins, 3 corridors, 1 hunger. Everything changes when you refuse it a straight line. 2 hands for deletion, split deploy from purge. Managed identities scoped like pinholes. Audit nested groups until the tree ends. Force soft delete to drag time through every attempt. Because until you break these paths, you're not defending backups, you're feeding the creature. The 3-step hardening strategy. Administrator, you want the cure. 3 cuts, good friction only. Step 1, lock the vault. Start with soft delete. It's the forced delay. The stumble. You press delete, the item falls, but not far. It lingers in the soft deleted state, half alive, half gone, like an undead thing you keep on purpose. That delay buys you breath. It buys you time for a mind to cool. And that time breaks the single-click kill. Turn it on for every vault. Not later, not when budgets improve. Now, then prove it. Delete 1 test item, watch it sync to the soft layer, restore it, make the undead rise under your command. If it doesn't come back, your safety window is a painting, not a door. But here's where it gets interesting. You can still stab at the corpse, which is why you add multi-user authorization. MUA is the second hand, the second human. One cannot pull both levers. Wire it for destructive changes, deletion, disable protection, retention reduction below a known floor. The system should whisper denied unless a second, separate operator blesses the act. Not a group alias, not a bot, a different line, a different soul. 2 keys turned. One cannot pretend to be 2. And then the weld. Vault lock. This is the door you close and agree never to open. Irreversible configuration. You accept future pain to prevent present death. With Vault Lock, you cannot lower retention. You cannot switch off soft delete. You cannot purge soft deleted points even as owner. The platform itself becomes your stubborn friend. You scream cost, it refuses. You plead cleanup, it refuses. You bring your highest token, it refuses. Treat it like a one-way fire door. Before you lock, test resurrection. Verify alarms, name your flaws. Only then, weld it shut. Order matters. Chain the creature in the right sequence. First, enable soft delete. Prove the rise. Second, enforce MUA on the cuts that bleed. Third, vault lock to seal the ritual. Backwards, you trap yourself. Out of order, you leave a gap. Step 2. Identity separation. Kill God mode. Split the hands. Backups are not built by the same fingers that can bury them. Create roles like prison wings. Backup admin. They can configure protection, assign policies, trigger restores. They cannot purge. They cannot change retention below the floor. They do not approve their own MUA. Security reader. Eyes that don't sleep. They see the vault, the policies, the activity log. They cannot touch a single setting. Their power is sight. Their duty is alarm. Vault purge admin. Rare. Isolated. Never the same person as backup admin. Bound to MUA. Time bound by PM. Used only when a soft deleted item must truly die. Their footsteps are loud on purpose. Automation managed identity. Scoped to inches, not miles. It deploys. It registers items to protection. It cannot delete. It cannot reduce retention. It cannot approve MUA. It does one thing. It does it well. It does nothing else. Use PIM like snow underfoot. Just-in-time elevation. Approval required. Reason enforced. Duration short. Every step leaves a print. No standing owners. No sleeping contributors with forever teeth. Make access melt when the hour ends. If someone needs it again, they ask again. Fatigue is the feature. Friction is the guard. Hunt inheritance creep. Deny the shadow. At the management group, place a deny assignment for dangerous combinations. No contributor on vaults. No owner on backup resource groups. Use Azure policy to block unsafe states. Deny if soft delete is false. Deny if retention is below your minimum. Deny if MUA isn't configured for deletes. Make the platform say no before a human gets the chance to regret yes. Step 3. Isolation and monitoring. Give backups their own land. A separate subscription for vaults. One-way trust from prod to backup. Production identities can register items. They cannot purge. They cannot reduce retention. The purge lives elsewhere, behind MUA, behind PIM, behind a different admin line. Cross-subscription boundaries become real when identity is not shared. If the same service principle spans both, you build a door, not a wall. Close it. Issue distinct managed identities per workload. Scope them to resource group, never subscription, never management group. Now, eyes. Watch the scratch marks, stream activity logs, alert on backup item delete, retention policy change, recovery point purge. Treat each like glass breaking at night, pair them with who and where. Was it a human? Was it automation? Was it off hours? Did PM grant rise minutes before? Did the same identity touch, deploy, and purge within the same window? Stitch the story with Sentinel. Write analytics that call out impossible travel, sudden role assignment spikes, and destructive actions outside maintenance windows. Tag your vaults with a temper profile. If cost pressure lowers retention, demand a change record. Demand MUA. Demand a second person from a different team. If no record, alarms. If alarms, eyes. If eyes, action. And for the final layer, train your nerves. Run a drill. Simulate deletion. Confirm soft delete holds. Simulate purge. Confirm MUA blocks. Simulate configuration edit under vault lock. Confirm refusal. The first time you feel the system say no to you, you'll sleep better. Because that's the cure, administrator. Chains, separate hands, walls that don't pretend, eyes that don't blink, and friction, good friction, that keeps the monster hungry and outside. The prey, VM backup, Azure SQL, Azure files. Administrator, now we study the bite marks. Virtual machines first, the favorite meal. When ransomware hits, it hits the VM. Noise, panic. Someone scrambles into the portal, hands shaking, eyes hunting for relief. Backups look like relief. But if contributor sits on the vault, one panicked click can delete the backup item. If the vault isn't locked, owner can finish the job. Purge the soft deleted point and salt the earth. File recovery, full restore, both staff when recovery points are gone. And that's the trick. You don't have to smash the glass to ruin the room. Shorten retention beneath the age of your last good point, then wait. Time kills quietly. The next morning, restore opens to a desert. VM backups bleed fast because stress drives bad clicks, and the path to delete is short if you let it be. That's why the weld matters. Soft delete slows the blade. Vault lock takes it away. Azure SQL is older blood, rich, long-term retention sinks to auditors. Years sometimes, but a single misset can drain it dry. Point-in-time restore keeps the recent past. Long-term retention keeps the distant. Lower PTR days to the bone, and history narrows. Turn off or shorten LTR and whole seasons vanish. At server role sprawl, too many hands with too much reach, and the feast begins. The creature loves cleanup. It frames it as cost control. It smiles while months of restore points slip under the floor you never fixed. Guardrails save here. Enforce policy that denies low retention. Bind MUA to any change that reduces time. Split DB operators from vault power so the one who tunes performance cannot erase the past. And lock after you test resurrection. Azure SQL's dignity is its history. Protect the calendar or the calendar turns on you. Azure Files is shared memory. Departments live there. Old projects. Quiet folders no one wants to name but everyone needs at audit time. One careless admin with vault access can wipe an era. Snapshots help, but if retention is cut or backups disabled, both fall together. The parasite thrives in shared responsibility. A storage admin who's also a backup operator becomes a single point of erasure. Least privilege is the only antidote. Shares and vaults split across roles. No shared keys. No just this once elevation without PIM, reason, and a timer ticking loud. And eyes on deletions like fresh tracks in snow, backup item delete, retention policy change, recovery point purge tied to alerts that wake a second team. You notice the pattern. Different prey, same fangs. VM, SQL, files, 3 bodies, 1 skeleton beneath, IAM and friction. When deletion takes 2 humans, panic slows. When retention flaws are policy enforced, cost cuts bounce. When the vault is welded, even owner is forced to wait, to think, to prove intent. Now you felt the teeth, you saw the blood. Next we show the attempt and the resurrection. You will press delete, you will watch the fall. Then you will make the undead rise because you planned for it. And when the vault refuses even you, you'll understand what safety sounds like. Silence. That isn't lying. The demo. Show the monster, then seal the door. Administrator. Watch closely. We enable soft delete, a quiet checkbox. Save. Nothing dramatic. The delay is now a wall of time. We attempt to delete a backup item. Click confirm. The activity log breathes. Backup item delete. The item falls, but not far. It lingers. Soft deleted. Half gone. Half yours. We restore. Select the fallen thing. Recover. It rises. On purpose. The undead returns when you call. Now friction. We enable multi-user authorization. Destructive acts demand 2 humans. I try the same deletion. Denied. The second hand is missing. Good. We apply vault lock. The weld. I lower retention. Refused. I try to switch off soft delete. Refused. I attempt a purge of the soft deleted point. Owner token. Still refused. Your keys don't matter here. Only the weld does. Lesson. Defaults trust. Enforced friction survives. Enterprise scenarios. Evidence the horror is real. Day 0312. An automation secret leaks. Pipeline wakes. Contributor across vaults. Cleanup rewrites policy. Retention to 0. Points age out. Activity log trails, retention, policy change, backup item delete. Sentinel whispers anomaly, soft delete holds. Vault lock would have ended it sooner. Another shop, Terraform module drift, dev copied to prod, soft delete off. Weekly gone, cost optimized, a midnight incident, deletes fly, no time window, nothing returns. A third, DevOps with Vault owner, temporarily. PIM left open, weekend maintenance, one person deploys, deletes, purges, recovery point purge at 0241, eyes sleep, Monday, nothing restores. Tools didn't fail, identity did, chains were missing, friction absent, the creature walked straight through. Tools you will use to survive. Administrator, gather your wards. Recovery Services Vault, Azure Backup Vault. This is the center of gravity. This is where you enforce soft delete, where you require multi-user authorization, where you apply vault lock and accept the weld. Every prayer you protect must answer to this vault first. Azure policy. Carve the rules in stone. Deny if soft delete is false. Deny if retention dips below your floor. Deny if MUA isn't bound to destructive acts. At deploy time, force safety. No exceptions, no polite warnings. Deny on Azure monitor and activity logs. Wire the glass break sensors. Alerts for backup item delete. Retention policy change. Recovery point purge. Tie each event to identity, scope, and time. Off hours, louder. Non-initiator, louder. Automation, louder still. Microsoft Sentinel Analytics, stitch the tail. Impossible travel coupled with a role assignment spike. PM elevation minutes before a destructive action. A vault touched by the same hands that deployed the workload. Correlate, rank, wake the right people. Terraform and Azure CLI. Codify your safety. Managed identities, not secrets. Scopes as narrow as a keyhole. Modules that set soft delete on, MUA required. Vault lock staged behind manual approval. No variable that lets a junior flip off the weld. Entra roles with PM. Split duties clean. Backup admin, security reader, vault purge admin. Approval chains that cross teams. Just-in-time elevation with reason required, timers loud, and audit trails that never age out. Break glass accounts locked in a vault, tested in drills, never left warm. Cross-tenant subscription design. Put backups on their own land. One-way trust inbound for registration. No shared keys. No wide service principles drifting across subscriptions for flexibility. Every boundary backed by identity that cannot leak. These are not props, these are bars, chains, alarms. Use them together or the creature finds the gap. And when you feel the system refuse you, that's not friction, that's safety breathing. One truth remains. If one person can end your backups, you don't have backups. Only quiet, dry wood waiting for a spark. If this pulled the mask off the monster, subscribe. Then go watch the deep dive on RBAC traps and Sentinel detections. Set the alerts, split the hands, and lock the vault before midnight. Stop the creature at the door.